Guys, this video is sponsored by our friends at Geology. This award-winning men's skincare company will formulate a customized skincare routine just for you using a handful of powerful, proven ingredients that have been trusted by dermatologists for decades. In fact, Geology is one of the only men's skincare companies to have retinol as an active ingredient in their products. If you suffer from acne, dark eye circles, wrinkles, or sensitive skin, look no further. To get started, take Geology's 30-second diagnostic quiz, and their team of dermatologists will design and ship a regimen directly to your door. It is that simple. Their face wash is incredible. It smells amazing, and I love the way my skin feels after I use it. With over 4,000 five-star reviews, why not give it a try? Start today with a 30-day trial of all 4 products. Their everyday face wash, Vital Morning Face Cream, Repairing Night Cream, and Nourishing Eye Cream. Head to geology.com, take their free skincare quiz, and with this exclusive offer, you will save 70% off your first purchase, or just click on the link below. I was talking to you yesterday, and I asked a very simple question. I had listened to Bobby Green on Errol Hawani's show. Bobby Green said I wasn't the first guy that was called. I don't know who else was called, but they're all, and he called him the P word. And that got me thinking, yeah, you're right. They didn't call Bobby first. They didn't just call one guy and change it 5 pounds, fly him in from vacation. Obviously, they were running out of options when they finally got to Bobby. That's very obvious, and I thought of it as soon as Bobby got done saying it. But then I wanted to know, who are these names? Because I don't want a mistake of coming down here and shining these guys up. I don't want to package a guy who was offered an opportunity and turns out he's not ready. Those aren't my kind of guys. I don't want somebody that's scared to take on anybody, even if his name's Islam Makhachev. I don't want to be behind those guys, so I would like to know, who is that? Well, Bobby hasn't answered the question yet, and I suspect that Bobby wouldn't know the answer to it, but Islam did. Islam said when he got the call, hey, Darush is hurt, that Islam said, just get me somebody. Get me Gillespie, get me RDA, get me Fitzai, just went through the list. And Islam said, Bobby's getting the fight because Bobby's the only one that got back to me. Now, I realize there's a language barrier there. I realize the way it is, he's the one that got back to me. I realize that makes it sound like Islam was out finding opponents. But for all I know, he was. It could have been Ali for all I know. Ali might have been going to these guys. Hey, you want to fight Islam? I don't know what happened. But I do accept that, and I do appreciate that. Because some guys are going to do their talking by competing. Some guys are going to do their talking on the microphone. The greats are going to have a combination of both. But if you do want to look at the way Islam's going, which is very light on talk, very high on performance, that's the same that his mentor Khabib did. Khabib didn't come out of his shell and even fully grasp the language. I mean, there was a time Khabib was fighting, he had to have an interpreter. Khabib took that serious. He wanted to communicate. He learned English. He started doing press conferences alone, back and forth with the audience. But I'm just sharing with you, that was a work in progress. And guys like Khabib and guys like Islam still deserve the same credit. Somebody that's willing to step in on short notice deserves a lot of credit. But at the same time, these guys that aren't ready for whatever reason, I don't believe anybody that they weren't ready. I don't. Maybe they weren't in peak shape, or this wasn't perfect, or making weight was going to be a little bit uncomfortable. I don't think so. I think it's the part that makes me look down on you the most, which is you found out who the opponent is. If you found out who the opponent was ever and you said no, but if it was a different opponent and you would have said yes, you now go into the category of a bully, by definition. A bully is somebody that picks on somebody because they can. That's the definition. A guy that's mean to everybody is just a dick. Which I'd way rather deal with a prick out there than I would with a bully. I just don't like them. Dealt with them the same as you guys did at some point in your life. I just don't like them. It's got to be anybody or it's got to be nobody. Real simple. I do think that it's very important, though, that Islam do get the credit for saying, get me anybody. Islam didn't get a call. It's Bobby Green. Okay, I think I match up well. Let me talk to my coaches and my team. Okay, I'll do it. He said, get me anybody from Jump Street. That's the same thing that Conor McGregor has done. People are arguing against Conor being looked at for a world title fight. There's not anybody else within the division that's got 3 world championships. Nobody looks better on paper than Conor. So, of course, you want to throw that out, and you just want to talk about what's most recent. What's most recent only wants to be brought up when that favors you and or your client. What in the hell's the point of doing all these fights for all these years? What was Conor's point of being an intern champion, 45-pound champion, and 55-pound champion if he doesn't get to use that resume at some point to help himself? Of course it matters. Bet it does. But one thing that Conor always did is he was willing to compete. It's one reason that Conor always got these opportunities. Guys, I will tell you till I'm blue in the face, the single greatest way to break into this industry is to be ready on short notice. If you were to ask me how you win the Super Bowl, I could tell you. And I would talk about the clearinghouse through the NCAA, and I would talk to you about how scholarships work in college, and I would talk to you that you've got to be into your second year before you can enter the draft. I could explain that to you. I could explain to you about getting picked up and signed to the league, making it to the playoffs, having more points than this guy when time runs out, moving to the next round. I could explain to you very clearly and precise how to be a Super Bowl champion. I cannot precisely tell you how you get into the UFC. That question's been around. I've been asked it 100 times, but there's not an exact answer. I will say things like, well, the greatest vehicle is the Ultimate Fighter, and now there's an opportunity called the Dana White Contender Series, and of course you want to find a gym, and you want to get the equipment, you want to show up every day, you want to start to build a name on the regional scene. I can give you stuff that everybody else has done. Like, there's a way for me to answer the question, but I can't guarantee that it happens. You ask me how to win the Olympics. I can give you an architecture that for sure, if you do, you will be the Olympic champion. In this sport, instead of telling you, go out there, get these fights, pick a weight class, come up with a nickname, build your social media, instead of doing all of that, I can just tell you, be ready. I could not get in the UFC, specifically in me. I fought a guy named, you want to hear an ironic story? I fought a guy named Babalu. Babalu is a total stud, but he was really feared at the time I fought him. He just looked scary. Babalu looked the part, not to mention he could get down. I fought Babalu in California. The promoter that put that event on went against the Attorney General's office, who did not have a sanctioning body yet. Told the Attorney General, oh, no, I'm not doing a fight. I'm filming a movie. This is all scripted. So Dana, who's in the process of trying to get regulation throughout the country, including California, now the whole sport gets a big black eye. And people are throwing their hands up, they don't want to do it. And Dana goes, anybody that fought on that card will never fight in the UFC. And I'm sitting there going, but Dana, we didn't know. Nobody told us this. No, we had no idea. This movie business and predetermined outcome and the Attorney General, these are all things that we heard after the fact. Now, why I tell you it's ironic is Babalu found a way around it because he did such a good job. He won an 8-man tournament in one night. He could write his own ticket, and he did it to the UFC. He had a short notice replacement fight needed. I contact Joe Silva. I got guys allegedly speaking up for me. I found out they weren't, but allegedly were speaking up for me, trying to get me in the organization. I get Joe Silva's email. I had to pay $1,500 to get it. Turned out it was real easy, jsilva@ufc.com. I probably should have guessed that, but I didn't. $1,500, get an email, send him, and it says, I will fight Babalu. Nothing else was said. I was signed and had a contract that night. So not only I went from a blacklist for fighting a guy that we're now going to rematch on pay-per-view. Cool story, but it's my story. So when I tell you how important it is to be ready on short notice, I'm telling you from experience. Ask Michael Bisping if he could have got a world title fight. Because Michael Bisping did everything that you need to do, but he didn't get one until he agreed to do it on short notice. He is now in the Hall of Fame and a world champion. Ask him how short notice worked out. Bobby Green was not going to be considered for a main event. Bobby Green was never going to be in a number one contenders match, at least not within this calendar year. He's going to be Saturday. Why? Because it was short notice. Being ready is the key in this sport. And I will always test a guy when a guy comes to me for help. Chael, will you help? Will you be my mentor and help guide me through this sport? I will always test him because I'm a coach at heart. That's just inside of me. I can't get rid of it. But I will test him the same way I just did right now. Are you at all times in shape? Are you at all time up to speed on your licenses? Are you all time clean for a drug test? Are you at all times willing to compete when Saturday night rolls around? If the answer is no, I'm not your guy, but you're not mine. I work with guys exclusively who are actual professionals who are ready, willing, and able. And not in that order. Willing, most importantly. Not I have to. Not even I get to. I want to. Those are the guys that I work with. But I work with them throughout history because I see the opportunities that get created by somebody who's willing to do it. Who's willing to raise their hand. Who's prepared. Who's got no excuses. who's got a thumb drive on their computer with all their paperwork ready to send off to any commission at any time. Blood work in line, eyes, everything that you would need to fight, a professional is going to have. All the way down to high-resolution photos in case they've got to put you on a poster on short notice. Boom, I'll send it to you, get it to your art department, make the announcement, I'm getting a plane ticket now. Those guys do exist. There's few of them, and even fewer are guys once they get signed. A lot of guys under contract will know what I'm saying is true and did live their life period of time until they got the contract. That contract will ruin more tough guys than anything else. I'm here, I get to tell my friends, I get cuts in line at the local strip club, I'm in the UFC. That will ruin a guy more than anything. But not the greats. The greats with the great stories, the underdog, the comeback, the Michael Bispings of the world were ready and they wanted it.